We have to first start and understand the demand in general for the portion of the network, the access portion of the mobile network, where small cells reside. There's a tremendous thirst and appetite for capacity in the access portion of the network. That portion of the network where the handset or your mobile device connects to the overall mobile network. And that is creating an unbelievable demand for capacity. As a matter of fact, from 2010 to 2020, it's about a 1,000x increase in capacity required because of the advent of smart cells, or I should say smartphones, and data being transmitted in both directions. Where small cells fall into this category is the operator is looking to maximize their capex. And they're looking for ways to build out more capacity and more coverage in a cost-effective manner. And so the concept of heterogeneous networks is now being pushed forward by the industry. Heterogeneous networks are different size macro base stations or different size base stations. There's macro base stations, there's Cloud RAN, and there's small cell. Small cell will fill in the capacity and the coverage gaps that are left behind after deploying base stations or macro base stations themselves. So the bottom line is it's another asset that the operator can deploy to create better capacity, better coverage in a more cost-effective manner. Part of the challenge that they face is the deployment, the management of any base station, any category of base station out there. In the case of small cell, they are individually deployed through what they call SON. It's a self-managing technique that's not tied back to the operator's management itself. The other challenge associated with small cells is finding the right business metrics around real estate, plate location, and then backhaul to connect those devices to. So unlike macro base stations or CRAN, where they're somewhat centralized or deployed in a CO of some kind, small cells are being deployed in many different locations, and that those business terms still need to be negotiated. Well, if you ask my opinion, I believe small cells can provide telco quality solutions. However, they need to be thought of in a total system deployment. So as an operator is deploying 4G and 5G in the future, how does small cell, macro base stations, and CRAN fit into the overall heterogeneous architecture? And if they're thought of upfront, then they most certainly can provide the solution that Telco expects. Well, small cells in themselves are a standalone dedicated solution today. But where they do provide a level of promise is beginning to push more of the intelligence of the network out to the edge, out to the access portion of the network. So like in the case of macro base stations or small cells, which is just another base station, you can begin to build out highly intelligent devices with much more processing capabilities to put applications that were only once perceived to be running in the core of the network. As an example, edge caching, as a way to provide better perceived user experience to the person using the mobile phone or the handset, because the caching itself gives the end user themselves an experience that's better than going all the way across back to the network, to the core of the network itself. So it fits in the sense of NFV that we're beginning to now create solutions that have intelligence built into them, running a virtualized environment that not only can act as a small cell, but you can run applications that are virtualized on top of the same machine. Well, like they are in 4G networks today or 3G networks, I think they're another piece of the puzzle that they will provide building blocks that allow the operator, the service provider, to build a heterogeneous network that at the end of the day improves the amount of capacity that they can deploy for the dollars that they spend, and provide you and me, the user, a better user experience.